The COVID-19 pandemic has had an unprecedented impact on migration flows in the EU. Movement restrictions put in place in light of the coronavirus pandemic have led to a reduction in migration, both legal and illegal, as countries have closed borders, restricted routes for legal migration, and scaled back programs to take in refugees. However, the flaws in the EU's asylum system exposed by the arrival of more than 1 million asylum seekers and migrants in 2015, they remain. Parliament has been working on proposals to create a fairer, more effective European asylum policy. So in this video, I give you the relevant data about migration in Europe, who migrants are, what the EU is going to get to, well, at least try to get grips on the situation, and what financial implications there have been. Asylum seekers are people who make a formal request for asylum in another country because they fear their life is at risk in their home country. Refugees are people with a well-founded fear of persecution for reasons of race, religion, nationality, politics, or membership of a particular social group who have been accepted and recognized as such in their host country. In the EU, the Qualification Directive sets guidelines for assigning international protection to those who need it. Currently, people from outside the EU must apply for protection in the first EU country they enter. Filing a claim means that they become asylum applicants or asylum seekers. They receive refugee status or a different form of international protection only once a positive decision has been made by national authorities. In the first 10 months of 2020, there were 390,000 asylum applications in the EU. That's 33% less than the same period of 2019. In 2018, there were 634,700 applications, significantly lower than the more than 1 million applications registered in 2015 and 2016. Particularly large declines were seen in Germany, France, and Italy in the first 7 months of 2020. There were fewer first-time applications from Syria, Iraq, and Nigeria, all down more than 50%. However, numbers were up in Spain and Romania, partly due to an increase in applications from South American countries, including Colombia, that went more than 100% higher than before, and Peru with 76% higher. The European Border and Coast Guard Agency collects data on illegal crossings of the EU's external borders registered by national authorities. In 2015 and 16, more than 2.3 million illegal crossings were detected. The total number of illegal crossings in January to November 2020 dropped to 114,000, the lowest level in the last 6 years, and a decrease of 10% compared to the same period in 2019. Despite a 55% drop, Afghanistan remains one of the main countries of origin people detected making an irregular border crossing, along with Syria, Tunisia, and Algeria. The Mediterranean crossing remained deadly, with 1,754 people reported dead or missing in 2020, compared to 2,095 people in 2019. Irregular arrivals via the central Mediterranean route to Italy and Malta increased by 154% in January-November 2020 compared to the same period in 2019. There were more than 34,000 such arrivals in 2020 compared to nearly 11,500 in 2019, with a majority of people arriving in Lampedusa. Arrivals in Spain and in particular the Canary Islands increased by 46% compared to 2019. Many new arrivals originate from countries suffering from an economic downturn rather than conflict. A decline in global remittances is also likely to contribute to this trend. Until the pandemic is contained and economic recovery is underway, poor employment and healthcare prospects will remain an incentive for people to come to the EU, but it will not help them. Migration has been an EU priority for years. Several measures have been taken to manage migration flows as well as to improve the asylum system. Even though the Eurobarometer survey from June 2019 shows that migration was the fifth biggest issue that influenced Europeans' voting decisions for that year's EU elections, a Parliameter 2020 survey registered a drop in importance. It is considered as the main area of disagreement between the EU and national governments by nearly half of the respondents. The EU significantly increased its funding for migration, asylum and integration policies in the wake of the increased inflow of asylum seekers in 2015. 22.7 billion euros goes to migration and border management in the EU's budget for 2021 to 2027, compared with 10 billion for migration and asylum in the previous budget. Around the world, the number of people fleeing persecution, conflict and violence has reached 80 million. That is equivalent to almost every man, woman and child in Germany being forced from their homes. Children account for about 40% of the world's refugee population. The countries hosting the largest numbers of refugees are Turkey, Colombia, Pakistan, Uganda and Germany. Only 14% of the world's refugees are hosted by developed countries. And I'll see you in my next video. Bis gleich.